Everybody, in this video, we're going to be talking Marvel Snap, some big incoming matchmaking changes. We got a new season starting. Are you ready for it? We did a video on that. We're talking about more boosters, like I said, matchmaking, Thanos animation changes. The developers got some stuff coming in. So all sorts of stuff. We're going to discuss that, give some opinions. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Let's jump right in. So you're already aware, I'm sure, if you're watching this video, Nimrod's coming. Depending on you're watching this tomorrow, today, yesterday, who knows, depending when you watch this. So I did a video on what I thought some counters are to him, some uses are for him, all that sort of thing. I don't want to spend too much time on this. On Marvel Snap Zone, they do have some decent stuff in here for some different cards you can use with him. Some ways to beef him up a little bit. The whole idea of these beef up cards are, Nimrod is something that when you blow him up, he's going to go somewhere else. So you want to put him somewhere as high as you can. So these are the type of cards that build him up a little bit. I do like the concept there. And then on here, they've got a bunch of decks that you might want to consider using them in. Again, I'm not going to go through these right now. I think we can do stuff like that. One, it was in the video before. Two, we can do more as he gets out and see how everybody likes him and how we're feeling about him, all that sort of thing. So Nimrod's coming. Yay. The one thing I will say about this guy is expect a lot of Shuris before him. Expect him to get, up to 10 with that Shuri. Expect an empty lane for Galactus to drop down on. So that means make sure you're aware and paying attention to that empty lane, know where it's at, and save your Shang-Chi so that you can nuke that Nimrod or two that's sitting there. And then remember, to be able to do that, you want to make sure that your opponent has priority. So that's the Nimrod talk. We're not going to focus too much on that. The main part of this video that I really wanted to get into is some of the developer talk that they had. Again, Marvel Snap Zone, they do a good job of collecting a bunch of information, and a lot of this is on social media, Discords, all these sort of different things, where they've got the designers, the developers saying different stuff, and they sort of compile it. So they're talking about Kitty Pryde a little bit, who's upcoming. You can return this to your hand and gain +2 power. I'm still super skeptical about, how good of a card that's going to be. Maybe for a Luke's Bar type situation. I mean, how much are you going to use something like Falcon or Beast, I guess, maybe. We'll see. So this is the first thing that I want to talk about quite a bit, because I think this is the most important thing. Improvements to the ranked mode. They specifically say here, with the new Marvel Snap season, Days of Future Past coming up on Monday, we've had some important news regarding the state of the rank ladder, which has been causing a bit of unrest in the community in regards of matchmaking, MMR, bots, and no rank floor except infinite rank. So they say, we aren't happy with the current state of ranked. And I don't blame them, honestly. There's a lot of people talking about different things. It doesn't affect me a ton, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We have a change going live with the start of next season that we hope to make that makes it a little better. So that means, again, depending when you're watching this video, as soon as Nimrod is live, these matchmaking changes are going to be live. But we think more changes are needed after that too. We have a blog on ranked mode improvements coming out on Monday. So we'll get the specific details of this on Monday. Right now, we're just left to speculate. To clarify, the blog on Monday is about the new season and includes information about ranked mode changes that start with this new season. On Monday, we can expect an announcement in an official capacity to see what it can entail. Like they specifically mention here, they've got a number of things. Matchmaking. The biggest problem with matchmaking right now is a multiple levels. You've got some people saying, well, I'm only collection level 1000 and I'm getting matched up against infinite player. Or I'm only collection level 500 and I'm getting matched up against infinite players. Okay, that could happen. You got to remember that somebody might whale out to get infinite one season. So the way you know you're getting infinite is because they've got the title or they've got a bunch of heavy cards, which again, they could be whaling out. Their collection level might not be as high. Maybe they just bought stuff from the token shop. Who knows? The other part of this matchmaking is, and this is speculation, I was talking to Mobile a little bit about this, is the credits. So there's a way that with credits right now that you can potentially just hold on to them. I did it to start the game where I sat underneath collection level 600 so that it wouldn't be as difficult for me to sort of rank up. I think the plan for this is that they're going to look at you at your ladder and how many credits you've got in your bank so that it's a cumulative matchmaking. And I think that sort of makes sense, honestly. If you've got that many credits, then you should be considered a way up the ranking. Now, I personally don't love I think that the collection ladder should be part of the matchmaking, but I think a part of it as well should be the MMR where it's like depending on wins and losses and all that sort of thing. If you won a bunch, then okay, you should be against harder opponents. If you've lost a bunch, then you shouldn't be getting a bunch of infinite, tough, high collection level type players. So I'm really hoping they sort of figure that aspect about it, figure that aspect out a little bit. The bots part, this mainly I think those end game players who are getting past infinite, their matchmaking is so high that they only get bots at that point where it's an easy climb to 600, 700, whatever it is they might be doing. It's just not great. And then the no rank floor. I mean, I get that to an extent. I'm a little torn on that. I haven't experienced it necessarily, so I can't comment too much, but I'm very curious to see what they think about it and what they say and what they want to change. Another thing that I'm hearing a lot with this ranked mode MMR matchmaking stuff is that people are also tanking their MMR at the end of the season so that they have an easier MMR to the start of the next season. So that way they can hopefully get to infinite faster. I think that's very unfortunate. I don't know if that's something that they're going to fix right now, but I do think it's something that they should fix right away. I actually sent a tweet over to Second Dinner, Marvel Snap, and Ben Brood, an idea here to keep people from tanking their MMR at the end of the season. Maybe give something to those who don't do it. You know, keep winning at the end. You get some additional rewards, or I don't know, something that's in some sort of climbing at the end of the season, last few days, that allows people to get variance, something gold, you know, so that way people aren't tanking. Anyways, I thought I don't love the fact that it's in the game. I hope that's definitely something they fix. But until then, until we get this blog post tomorrow, Monday, we're basically left to speculate. So I want to know what your thoughts are in the comments. Obviously not a lot of time until now and then, but we'll see. Next thing they had in here, reduced featured and hot locations. Basically, they're seeing that they want to reduce the featured locations down from 48 to 24 hours going forward. And they also might want to have some off weeks for some of these locations. I think it makes sense. Sometimes they don't necessarily want to have some of that stuff going. I do like that they have something like that in there. But I do also sometimes get frustrated when it's something that's just like, especially for the early players where you might only have a deck or two that are decent. You know, you get a location that's just not good for that deck and that location shows up a lot. It makes it a lot harder. Now, I also say that, you know, if you get one of those locations that's frustrating to you or it isn't working well for your deck, it's just one more RNG component that if it's not going well, then just bounce, just leave and wait for the next game. If it was in every game, that'd be different. That'd be terrible. So this was a specific tweet that Marvel Snap Zone had out here where they were talking about. It does appear the featured locations have been amended. Rada, who I assume is related to the dev design team, they said they put out an update with Quantum Realm as they needed a patch, so it didn't perfectly not with Steven, but they do want to know what we think about it. And personally for me, I want something in there. I don't know what it is necessarily, but I do want some sort of location fun in there where it's a focus or something. You know, the length, I'm not sure I feel too strongly about. Something you might have missed that they put out there and it's already live is they've got a 2x chance to get boosters on cards you need more boosters to upgrade. Now, what does that mean? The way I interpret this is if you've got a card that you're trying to build more of and you need 50, etc., you're more likely to get the boosters for that card versus a low level card. So if you want to build up a card and you've got a bunch of high level cards that you know need 30, 50 boosters, etc., you might want to take that card that you want to build up some and go run it in a different deck a little bit until it's about equivalent, because it might be a little bit more hard to get those boosters. At least that's the way I read this. They've got another thing where they've gotten some improvements to the card acquisition, but this is in the works. They want new cards showing up in the next refresh of the token shop after their release. The idea behind this is they basically know that there's a new card. It's exciting. They want you to be able to get it. So if you're planning on getting a new card when it comes out, save the token so that way when it's in the shop that first time, you're able to grab it. That's critical. There's an improvement for it in the next patch and an additional one in the patch after that. They'll share more soon. This is an area where they'll continue to invest until they get it right. New cards need to be exciting. I agree. There are more changes than that for reference. They also had a follow-up tweet to the one reference because the change in the new card coming up will refresh will not come until April. So this isn't happening until April. This part I sort of love. So it talks about measuring card balance and they're specifically talking about Leech. The general concept they're talking about here is fun. Yes, they measure fun. It's more important that cards be fun than balanced. That's what makes them appealing. Among their duties as game managers is to forecast a player experience and interpret their feedback, as well as how the data corresponds to that feedback. And then they talk about Leech specifically. Most card games, theirs included, manage keeping many different cards fun and strong by ensuring there's meaningful counterplay against all of them. And I actually want to say that I agree with this. You don't want to have a situation where there is a clear, this deck conquers everything else. If you don't have it, you're sort of SLOL. So I like that they're thinking about this. Designers often call cards serving this role release valves. This is a term that's new to me, but I get the concept behind it. In these sort of cards, these release valve cards remove the pressure created by strong cards. So if a bunch of strong cards happen, you've got this card that sort of can make them irrelevant or go away. Leech is exactly such a card. His role is to offer players a clean answer to decks trying to pack all of their power in at the last minute, such as Silver Surfer or Death Wave decks. This isn't because we don't want these powerful decks to exist, but it's because we want to ensure a variety of powerful decks can exist. And that's the part that I sort of really like, where they're looking at like, look, we want this deck to be good, but we don't want it to be the one only good one or the clear top one. Now, certainly there's metas, but at the same time, you could have a Leech or like sort of a troll deck, and it can mess with a lot of these higher level decks, and that's fun. So you can really be thinking about what is somebody going to play, and if somebody's sitting on something and you got Leech in your hand, doesn't matter. See you later if you get to play that right. This is because we don't want these powerful decks to exist. Like I said, it's just so that they have a variety. Release valves, especially ones that restrict players, become most problematic when dominant decks include them as wide-ranging protection. They don't want Leech or other valves to be their most played cards for their cost, but it's important for them to exist and be good at their jobs. It is a careful balance to manage, and I agree. And this is Glenn who said this. Glenn, I don't know you, but I think this is a perfect insight to how you really want to look at cards, decks, games in general, where you want to have this sort of, I guess, release valve, an aspect or a counter to something that helps you say, you know what, I don't have all that stuff, but I do have this thing, and that makes all that stuff a lot harder to use. I like it. I think it's pretty good. One of the last things I want to show on here is that they are adding a new animation to Thanos. Apparently, they don't have a full one. I don't have Thanos. I don't know what it looks like now, how this compares to it. This new and improved animation will be included in the next patch. I think this is cool. I'd still love to see, an end animation when you land this guy on the field. Like, when you play Thanos, it should be similar to Kang and Galactus, where he comes onto the field, and because he's played all those Infinity Stones, they sort of come into the glove and he does something, and he maybe he gets all that power like he does in the movie, and you see it coursing through his veins, and he just comes in and it slaps from 11 to 21, and it's just like you feel that power and you see it. It sort of slams onto the location and just rocks the board. I think that's what they should do. We'll see what it is, but I like this. So that's the main update. They've got it for everything. Again, I wanted to make this sort of a newsy type video, something you might have missed for some of these items. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do with matchmaking the most. Nimrod, I don't have a Galactus, so I don't know. I don't really have good destroy decks. I'm going to certainly buy the season pass because I want to make sure that I get those cards as they come out. I like the premium aspects of some of the season passes as well. So I'm just going to do it because why not? Content, etc. And we'll see if we can make some decks that maybe don't have Galactus. I'll focus on that. Let me know what your thoughts are on Nimrod decks without Galactus in the comments below. Appreciate you guys making this far. If I was helpful at all, you want to see future content, please consider hammering down that like button. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.